Hello, my name is Timothy, and I am your teacher today. I hope that you're comfortable and that you're excited to talk about animals. Actually, not just any animal. These are pets. Do you know what pets are? Yes. I bet you know someone with a pet. And if you're lucky, you have a pet. When I was a boy, I had some cats when I was very young, a couple of cats. I loved them and they were so warm and they were so soft. And then later, when I was a little bit older boy, like maybe I was about 7, then I had a beautiful black lab dog. He was so nice. He's still one of my best friends, even though he's gone now. So I love pets. And we're going to talk about pets today. Animals that are friends with people. Okay? This first picture is so sweet. It's so good. Look at this girl. This little girl has, do you know what kind of animal that is? That animal is a hamster. A hamster. I'm going to change that to white. Hamster. And look at its little eyes are red, aren't they? And this hamster over here, its little eyes are black. What a cute little pet. They're so soft. Can you see it's up on her cheek, right here, her cheek? I bet it's very soft, very soft. The first word that I want to put here on, we looked at the word hamster, but let's put up this word. I want to put this word up. See if you can read this word. What does that say? C-A-R-E. And when there's an E at the end, it makes the A say its name, right? It says A, so care, care. And this is a silent E. Care. We're going to talk about, do you know what care is? Care is that the attention that some living thing needs for it to be healthy, for it to be alive and to do well. The care is what we give it. Or when we're babies, then our mothers and fathers or our grandmas and grandpas, they need to care for us because we need to be kept healthy when we're very little. But when you have a pet like this hamster here, this girl is caring, is giving this hamster some care. It needs care. Now, to hold it very close is good. That's part of the care. What else would somebody do to take care of their hamster? Yeah, you're right. They would feed it. And they would also give it water, wouldn't they? So, another word that I'd like to remind you of, we've been saying healthy, healthy, to be healthy. Let me write that word. For an animal or a person to be healthy. Healthy. When we give an animal good care, then the animal is happy and it is healthy, isn't it? So, have you ever had a hamster? Do you know someone with a hamster? They're so cute. One thing about a hamster is they like to eat little seeds, hamster food that you might get from the store. I had a hamster when I was a boy, and this little hamster, sometimes I came up to it one time, and its cheek was so big, this pet. And I went, oh no, it's sick. There's something wrong. Mom, Dad, there's something wrong with our little hamster. And then I came back and its cheek was not big. It was gone. And then I pulled a chair up and I watched the hamster. And that hamster was taking the food and into its cheek. It would fill up its cheeks so big, both of them sometimes. It keeps food in there. It's like a lunchbox and another lunchbox. They can just keep it there, and then later they can eat it or they can put it and store it. They can carry it to a new place. That little hamster would carry it to a new place sometimes, that one of mine. So a healthy hamster will keep food in their cheeks. And you give the hamster good food, that's taking good care of it, right? So a hamster oftentimes, have you ever seen the wheel? It's a wheel that the hamster can go inside of and run. And it goes around and around and around and around. They can run like that. They like to make a little house. The hamster likes to make a little house and go inside like this and just sleep inside the house. Hamsters are fun. Yep. So we're going to look at another animal. Oh, look at this hamster. First, let's look at this one. This one right here. It's eating. What is that? Is that some cheese or maybe a carrot? I don't know. Here is somebody, a new animal, a new pet. What is it? Oh my goodness. What is that? Can you tell me what that is? Those are dogs. You're right. And actually, a baby dog is called a puppy, right? A puppy. So dogs are great. Let me write it. Dogs are great companions for people. Can you say the word companion? What is a companion? A companion is something that's alive that you spend a lot of time with. It could be a friend, a close companion, but it can also be an animal, a pet. And if you spend time every day, every week with your dog and take good care of it, keep it healthy, then it's your companion. And these two little puppies are this boy's companion. Look at this boy. He looks happy. Mm-hmm. Pets can be a very good friend. A pet can be a very good friend, a very good companion. Now, another word that we can have here might be this. See if you can sound this word out. There's the word own, and then owner. The person that takes care and keeps healthy the animal is its owner. This boy is the owner. This boy is the owner of these little puppies. It's his job to take care of them, to keep them healthy. And maybe if they stay with him for a long time, they will be his companions. So, I like dogs. We just had a dog for so long, and his name was Huckleberry. Huckleberry was another black dog, and he was a very good companion to our family. I am happy that we had Huckleberry for 14 years. Dogs can live a long time. Let's see what the next animals are. The next animals. Well, before we actually, I'm going to give one more word here. See if you can say this word before I say it. tray. Can you say it? Train. Now, oftentimes with pets, especially with dogs, because they're so smart and so nice, we can train them. Maybe we could do this. We whistle, and when they hear that whistle, then they come. That would mean that we train them to come when they hear the whistle. We can also train them to walk very gently next to us. We can also train them to chase away deer. In my yard, we have a lot of deer, and it's okay. I like deer. They're beautiful, but the dog will sometimes keep them away so they don't eat all of our trees. Anyway, to train, it means to teach them how to do something. When we teach an animal how to do something, we train the animal. Of course, the word train is also a big, long train that goes on the tracks, right? But that's not what we're talking about, even though it's spelled the same way. This is when we train an animal, we teach it how to do something. So we're going to say goodbye to these dogs and see what the next animal is. Bye, dogs. We'll see you back in a little while. Oh my gosh, what the heck is this? Oh my goodness. That boy is touching noses with, do you know what that is? Can you say what kind of animal that is? Wait, I'm going to write it right here. See if you can say it. See if you were right. Iguana. An iguana is what a wild pet to have and to take care of. It is hard. You have to be very good at being an owner of an iguana, because they have certain foods that they really need and a certain temperature that they really need so that they're warm enough, and they need water. And all of those things are very, very particular for an iguana. Now, an iguana can get big. Do you know how big an iguana can get? 6 feet long. 6 feet. And when an iguana is 6 feet long, 6 feet long, about as long as my arms are, because I'm about 6 feet tall, then half of it, half of the iguana is its tail, half of it. An iguana has a huge tail. Excuse me. Now, an iguana has to eat. If we want to keep the iguana healthy, that iguana has to eat dark green leaves. It really does. And so it needs to eat a lot of those, right? It also needs to drink a lot of water. They come from the rainforest where it's always moist and it's raining a lot. It's also warm there, so we cannot let the iguana be cold. We need to keep the cage very specifically at a temperature that's warm, right? So for us, they can be a good companion. You might be surprised. Sometimes people, well, let's talk about training in iguana. Like, remember the word train? We teach it how to do something. Now, if you just met the iguana and you did not know the iguana, you would not do what this boy is doing. You know why? Because you might come up to the iguana, and if it didn't know you, it might get scared. And it might come up and it might go, ah! It could grab onto your nose with its mouth. Ouch. That would be scary. I would not want an iguana on my nose. But if you want to train an iguana, maybe if you trained it, you could do this after a long time. Maybe the first day, you would just go sit next to the iguana's cage. Maybe you would just sit by the cage for a little while each day for a whole week until the iguana knew that you were nice. Then you could open the door of the cage and put your hand inside just a little bit, but don't touch the iguana yet. Do that for a few days until the iguana knows you're still nice and it's not scared. Then, on a day where you're feeling very brave, you could reach in and touch the iguana just very lightly. And if the iguana wasn't afraid, you could even touch it again. And you could do that every day, just very gently, very lightly, until the iguana knew that you were safe and you weren't going to hurt it. Then you could even reach in and rest your hand on the iguana. And the iguana would know that you're safe. And do that for a few days. And then on another day where you feel that the iguana is very happy, healthy, and feeling safe, you might put a hand under its belly, very carefully under its chest, and just rest it there. Oh my goodness, your hand is under the iguana in their chest. And then after a few more days, you might lift the iguana up a little bit and set it back down. And after the iguana feels safe being lifted by you, you could probably, if you were lucky, train it to sit in your lap. And after a long time of sitting in your lap, maybe a whole month or a whole year, maybe you could touch noses with it, like this boy. Or you could figure out something that was nice and gentle and your own way of training the iguana. Wow. Look at how beautiful this little circle is here. And look at that eye. Look at that beautiful eye. And what about these? Bam, 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 all these spikes all the way down. What an amazing color that iguana is. Huh. Well, one thing, because they need to be warm, an iguana, you always have a nice light in their cage that they can climb under, and they love to lay in the sun. When they're out in the wilds, they just love to lay in the sun, and they lay there. And so if you put a light in their cage, and they'll pretend it's the sun, they think it's the sun, and they lay under it, and it feels so good. It does. So let's look at another animal. Thank you. We'll come back and see you in a little while. Look at those. Wait a minute. Look at those toenails right there. Look at those sharp claws. Wow. Okay. Here's another animal. Let's make my picture a little smaller. Oh, what are we going to see now? What in the, oh my gosh, do you know the name of this animal? This animal is a very short word. Oh, there it is. Can you say it? Yep, pig. It's a pig. And one of the things, you can see that this pig has little hair. Like I have hair here. You have hair on the top of your head. A pig has hair that's very rough. It's very, almost feels hard, like a very hard, not like my softer hair, no. And look at these little toes down here. Look at these little toes. Hold on. No, look at these little guys. These toes right here. Look at those. Right? Those are hooves. And a person that's a good owner, if they're going to keep the pig healthy, they need to trim the hooves. And you can see that these little hooves have been trimmed. Look at how flat they are. I can see they've been trimmed. Now, this kind of a pig is a pot-bellied pig. Do you know what a pot belly is? A pot belly is a big belly. If I'm going to have a pot belly, I'm going to big, like my belly is going to be sticking out like this. Now, this kind of pig has a pot belly like that. And a person has to really do a good job taking care of a pot-bellied pig. This girl is an owner of the pig, isn't she? She's the owner. And she needs to learn about the pig, the pot-bellied pig, to keep it healthy. Now, one thing you should know about pigs that people don't often know is that pigs are smart, very smart, and they're almost always hungry. That's why this one has a pot belly. It probably has a big stomach that it wants to put food into. And so, when you have something that's hungry and smart, that could be trouble in your house. They also have a very good nose. Wait a minute. You see this little cap right here? It was for my drink. Maybe hold on for a second. Anyway, when you have a smart pig that's hungry in your house, it will start to sniff and smell and sniff and look around the house. And some people have these pot-bellied pigs in their houses, and they have to lock doors because they can learn to open a door. They're so smart. Do they do it with their hooves? Do they do it with their mouth? I don't know. But they can open a door. They can learn. They know how to do that. They watch people do it, and then they do it. Wow. And just think about this. If they can open a door, they can open the refrigerator door. Oh my gosh. What if you came into the kitchen and the refrigerator door was open and there was a pot-bellied pig eating out of the fridge because it was so hungry? Well, so people lock their refrigerators. Sometimes, now this is fun, they can train the pig to walk with a leash around its neck. Let me see what that might be like. A leash around its neck. Let's see, like they put something like a little thing around its neck, here like that. And we'll just kind of bring it over like this. And then it would maybe be going up here to somebody who's holding onto it in their hand. And they can go walking. Look at that nice leash on that pig's neck. Could take that pig for a walk. Maybe it's one of these kind of leashes that also, it's kind of a harness that it might come up like this. And then, go around the pig like that. And it would help. And you can go on a walk down the street and people will say, "What is that?" And you can say, "Well, of course, it's a pot-bellied pig." So pigs are smart. Pigs are hungry. And you can train pigs because they're so smart. You can train them. And they can be a good companion, can't they? Well, if you're going to keep it healthy, you can brush its hair. You also have to give that pig a bath. Did you hear that? You have to give that pig a bath. About every 2 months, it needs to have a bath so that it's clean. We always think of pigs as dirty and rolling in the mud and that kind of thing. But it needs to stay clean and get a bath every 2 months. That would be fun. I wonder if you'd take a bath with a pig. I don't think so. I think it would have its own special bath. I've heard that they're good companions. I've heard that they're good pets, these pigs. People that have pigs in their house know that they're smart. They know that they're hungry. And so sometimes, have you ever been in a house where there's a baby in the house and people are afraid that the baby could fall down the stairs or something? And so they have these special doors that lock and they can open them for the grown-ups and close them, but the baby can't get through. People use those baby locks for pigs so they can't get through. Little fences around the house. Wow. So let's go back and say goodbye to all of the pets. These are all these different kinds of pets. Well, before we do that, I'm going to give one more word here. Here's a word. Can you say that one? groom. When there are two O's, like this, then ooh, we say ooh. So groom. And we were already talking about brushing the pig, and we were already talking about giving it a bath. Well, to groom a pig is just a way of keeping it clean with brushes and baths and keeping it healthy. That helps to keep it healthy, to groom your pet. And always the owner will groom their pet to keep it healthy, to take care of it. So I'm going to take away, well, the groom just went away, but I want the leash gone. And then I'll put the groom back in there. There we go. There's the word groom. Now we're going to say goodbye to the pig. Goodbye, Potbelly Pig. That was fun to visit with you. You know what? I didn't write Potbelly Pig, did I? Let's put that in. Potbelly Pig. There's a Potbelly Pig. This one up here, that's just a pig. Okay, we're going to keep going on. Going back. Goodbye, Potbelly Pig. Enjoy your walk. And wait a minute. Pig, try to get into the refrigerator, okay? When you get into the refrigerator, there's a lot of good food. Sneak in there tonight. Okay, goodbye, pig. Oh, here we are at the iguana again. And that boy is touching his nose to the iguana. Iguanas can be good companions. Goodbye, iguana. Goodbye, owner of the iguana. Beautiful brown eye you have, iguana. Let's go up and see. Oh, we remember these puppies, these dogs, these baby dogs. They are good companions. And this boy is a good owner. He keeps them healthy. What do you do to groom a dog? Right. You get a brush and you can brush it. You can give it a bath. Yeah. You might brush its teeth sometimes too. Keeping it healthy. Here, let's write the word dog. 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 And also, we'll write the word puppy. These are the puppies. Puppy. There's a puppy. And what was the last one back down? Oh, that's right, an iguana. Did we write that? We did write that, but let's write it now because we already got a potbelly pig, we got a dog, let's put an iguana in there again. How do we spell that? Iguana. There we go. Yep. Goodbye, puppies. I bet you'll grow up fast and you'll be good dogs for that boy. He'll be a good owner too. Take care of each other. And the first one that we visited with were these cute little hamsters. Let's put that word up here again. A hamster. How do you help a hamster? I don't think it's that easy to groom a hamster. I think when I watch hamsters, they groom themselves a lot. So if you give them enough water and good food and a good place to live, they'll keep themselves clean. They're very clean little characters. And they can be good companions, as you can see here. So today, we learned about pets, didn't we? Pets. And let's talk about the words again. If you're the owner, then you're the one that's in charge of the pet, taking care of the pet, to give it what it needs in order to be healthy. Healthy means that their body looks good and their eyes are clear and their hair is shining and good and soft. Companions, these are people. They can be people, but they can also be pets and animals that you like to be with a lot. They're your companion. And to groom something is to brush it, to take care of it. Now let's look at our animals. Say that word. Before I say it, pig. Good. Say this one. Potbelly pig. Good. Say this one. Hamster. Good. Say this one. Puppy. Good. Say this one. Dog. Good. And say this one. Iguana. Good. So we learned a lot about pets. I do like pets. I like animals a lot. I think they're very, very, very special. And they can be really good companions. Sometimes, like my dog, when I was a boy, was my best friend. He really was. Sometimes I would rest my head on his tummy, just on his side, and he was very warm, and I'd fall asleep. He'd fall asleep too. It's very peaceful with my dog. And I hope that you find a companion that you can be so close to that it can be your best friend sometime. Okay, thank you for a good lesson. And we'll talk next time. This is Timothy saying goodbye.